Tonight's true scary story is a Ouija board story, and it will make you not want to ever touch a Ouija board ever again. It also comes with a picture at the end, which is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. Also, if you want to send me your true scary story and you want me to recount it on here, my email is in my bio. Tonight's submitter's name is Jaime, and Jaime did say that I could tag him, so he will be tagged in the description if you have any questions or comments. Drop them there. One chilly night in October of 2013, him and a group of 5 friends were hanging out at his house. They all decided that they wanted to make a makeshift Ouija board out of poster board paper. They pull out a big poster board, they make the Ouija board, and then they use a planchette. They use a teacup holder for the planchette. But right before they're about to start, one of their friends, Elizabeth, decides that she's gonna sit this one out. So she decides to sit on the couch, and this is important for later. Before they start, they put their dog and a hamster in a separate room to protect them. They protected them with protective rules written on the walls, and they also protected themselves. Now, one of his friends is from Kenya and is very spiritual, comes from a very spiritual family, so he knew how to do all of these spells to protect them. Him and his 4 friends sit down in a circle, and these are their names: Ed, Sarah, Brad, and Gatson. To make sure that they actually made contact with the spirit, since there was a bunch of them, they used a gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper was Jaime. And what this meant was that the spirit was able to communicate through Jaime. He basically gave it permission. This was a huge mistake. First, they're asking basic questions like, hello, is there anyone here that would like to speak with us? How many spirits are here? Are you good or bad? For about 10 minutes, the board is actually completely silent, and they're actually thinking about saying goodbye to it when all of a sudden the planchette moves to hello. Of course, they're all accusing each other of moving the planchette, and so they decide that they're going to ask it a question that nobody else would know except for Elizabeth and Jaime. So Jaime asks the question, who here likes Brad? And the planchette actually doesn't respond to his question directly. Whatever it is, it moves the planchette to, Brad is going to break Sarah's heart. They all start freaking out. Like I said, it was not a direct answer to the question, but they would soon find out what the board meant by that. Planchette then began to say very specific things about every single person in the circle. Like, for instance, he said, one of you is a descendant from the Salem witch trials, which Jaime would eventually find out this would be him. He called each of them out by name, and then it ended it with saying, none of you will be friends after this. They all freak out at this point, and they want to say goodbye to the board. And they did. They said goodbye to the board. But after this, they went to go check on the dog and the hamster because they had to bring their friend Brad back home because he wasn't staying the night like everybody else was. However, as soon as Jaime gets to the door where the pets are, he all of a sudden goes into this 5-minute trance. Now, he said that this trance felt like it was hours long. And then he sees something, a giant black mass in the corner of the room. Absolutely terrifying. Then he hears this echoing sound, and it's just echoing in his head, but it's an echoing sound of a man or something else laughing hysterically in his ears. The air felt so heavy around him, it was almost suffocating. And all of a sudden, his friends help him come back to reality. He runs towards the door, he slips on their floor, he hits himself